From a young age, I've been a simpleton, believing whatever people told me and acting on it immediately. My best friend stared at a display window and sighed. This dress is so beautiful, I'd go with whoever buys it for me. I swiped my card on the spot, then packed her and the dress up and took her home. Our boss declared in a meeting, if we double our performance this quarter, I'll kneel down to everyone. I led my team and we worked our butts off for 3 months. At the year-end party, I quietly placed a prayer mat in front of the boss. I used this straightforwardness to purify my social circle, until I met my boyfriend's green tea childhood friend. At our first meeting, she said softly, "Sister-in-law looks like she has plenty of energy, unlike me. I'm naturally cold-bodied, and my hands and feet get freezing in the winter." Without a word, I pulled off my boyfriend's new limited edition down jacket and wrapped it around her. At our next meeting, she sighed, "I'm so envious that brother takes such good care of people. I wish the boyfriend I find in the future would be half as good as brother." I immediately posted a sincere matchmaking for a friend ad on my WeChat Moments, with her meticulously edited photos and WeChat ID, captioned, "Good girl, gentle and considerate, urgently needs a mature man to cherish her. No time wasters." Today at a gathering, she clutched her chest in public, gazing pitifully at my boyfriend. "Brother, I've been feeling down lately and my chest hurts." I immediately dialed 120. "Emergency center? Someone here has sudden angina, suspected myocardial infarction. Please send an ambulance immediately." The siren of the ambulance grew louder and louder, piercing the noisy music in the bar. In less than 3 minutes, several paramedics in uniform rushed in, pushing a stretcher. "Who called? Where's the patient with angina?" Everyone's gaze whooshed over to our booth. Isla, who was clutching her chest and leaning tearfully on Caleb's shoulder, froze. The sadness on her face froze, and her eyes were filled with astonishment. Caleb was also stunned. He looked at the paramedics, then at me, his brow furrowed into a knot. I stood up, pointed at Isla, and said to the doctor in a rapid voice, "It's her. She said she had chest pain, suspected myocardial infarction. Please check her quickly." The paramedics immediately surrounded her, one of them taking out a stethoscope to put it on Isla's chest. Isla screamed in fright and jumped away from Caleb's arms. "I'm fine. I'm not sick. What are you doing?" She dodged and waved her hands, her face flushed red. The head doctor's face darkened. "Miss, is there something wrong or not? Heart problems are not a joke." Caleb finally reacted. He pulled me behind him and glared at me with anger in his eyes. Then he turned around, squeezed out an apologetic smile to the doctor and the panicked Isla. "I'm sorry, doctor. This is a misunderstanding. My girlfriend. She doesn't really understand jokes." Isla was just feeling down and complaining. She took it seriously. "I'm really sorry. We wasted public resources." The paramedics looked even worse after hearing that. "A joke? You're treating emergency services as a joke? Do you know how many patients who really need emergency care are waiting for an ambulance right now?" The doctor's voice wasn't loud, but it was full of stern rebuke. The friends around all lowered their heads, not daring to breathe loudly. Isla's face alternated between red and white, wishing she could find a hole to crawl into. Caleb bowed repeatedly and apologized, finally sending the angry doctors away with great difficulty. The ambulance sped away, but the atmosphere in the booth had dropped to freezing. Caleb suddenly turned around, 2 clusters of fire burning in his eyes. "Ava, are you sick? Can't you see Isla was joking?" I looked at him, my eyes full of pure confusion. How can chest pain be a joke? What if something really happened to her, and we delayed treatment? Life is only once. How can you joke about that? Caleb was speechless, his chest rising and falling sharply. Isla's tears finally fell, her voice choked with sobs. "Brother Caleb, don't blame Ava. She's just worried about me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have said things carelessly." As she spoke, she cast a wronged and frightened look at me. Caleb felt so sorry for her. He hugged her tightly and gently patted her back. "It's not your fault. It's my fault. I shouldn't have brought you to meet her." The look he gave me was cold and disappointed. "Ava, you really make me so tired." The next day, Caleb came to find me early in the morning, his face gloomy. "Go apologize to Isla." His tone wasn't a request, it was an order. I was organizing the information from last night when I heard him and raised my head. Why should I apologize? Did I do something wrong? You did nothing wrong? Caleb's voice rose 8 octaves. You made her lose all face in front of so many people, and you still think you did nothing wrong? Because of you, she went back and cried all night last night. Now her eyes are swollen like walnuts, and she can't eat anything. I put down what I was holding and looked at him seriously. I'm just worried about her health. If you think that's a mistake, then there may be a fundamental difference in our understanding. Caleb laughed in anger. Difference in understanding? Ava, this isn't a difference in understanding, this is zero emotional intelligence. I don't want to argue with you. He took a deep breath. You must apologize today. Otherwise we. He didn't finish, but those 2 words hung between us. I was silent for a moment, then nodded. Okay, I'll go. Caleb's expression finally softened. In the afternoon, I showed up at Isla's door with a fruit basket. Caleb opened the door, his eyes complicated when he saw me, but he still stepped aside. Isla was sitting on the sofa, her eyes indeed red and swollen, looking pitiful. When she saw me, she shrank back behind Caleb. I ignored her little actions and walked straight up to her, placing a stack of documents on the coffee table. Isla, I'm sorry for making you feel embarrassed last night. Isla was stunned, probably not expecting me to be so direct. Caleb also had a satisfied look on his face. I continued. However, your health problems cannot be ignored. I consulted a specialist, and this chest pain caused by emotional excitement may be an early sign of cardiac neurosis. I pushed the documents in front of her. This is the appointment I made for you, the best cardiology specialist in the city, Friday morning at 9 o'clock. I've also compiled some dietary and lifestyle suggestions for heart health for you. You should take a look. Your body belongs to you. You must not be careless. I spoke with the utmost sincerity. Isla looked at the appointment slip and the thick stack of documents, the color draining from her face instantly. She looked at Caleb for help. Caleb's expression also froze. He probably thought I was just going through the motions, and didn't expect me to have prepared all this. Ava, I interrupted him. Caleb, Isla is your best friend. Aren't you concerned about her health? One sentence blocked everything he wanted to say. He could only say to Isla dryly, Ava means well maybe. You should go see him. Isla pinched the appointment slip, her knuckles white, finally squeezing out a smile that was more like a cry. Okay. Thank you, Ava. Isla ultimately didn't dare skip the specialist's appointment. It is said that the test results were all normal, she was just a little anxious. After this incident, she was quiet for several days. Until Sunday, I saw a photo she posted on WeChat Moments. In the photo, she was wearing a simple white dress, standing in front of an ancient window, looking into the distance with melancholy eyes. The caption was, "Some people's concern is too heavy, making it hard to breathe. I just want to be alone, quietly for a while. Perhaps, a trip to a quiet temple will wash away the dust of the soul." Below was a string of comments from Caleb's friends. Don't be sad, Isla, some people just don't understand gentleness. Hugs, we all understand you. Where's brother Caleb? Why isn't he with you? Caleb replied below. I'm in a meeting, I'll be there soon. I looked at the phrase wash away the dust of the soul, and fell into deep thought. Temple, quiet, wash away the dust of the soul. Open the computer and start searching. Soon I locked onto a target, the Jingxin Zen temple in the suburbs. The abbot there is an enlightened monk, and the temple is known for its strict rules and regulations. Cell phones are handed in, no food after noon, waking up at 4 in the morning for morning service, and a large amount of labor to be done every day. It is a well-known soul purification center. I immediately signed Isla up for a month-long, deep spiritual retreat experience. Then, according to the address, I bought a large package of plain cotton and linen clothes that met the temple's requirements and drove directly to Isla's apartment. When I arrived, Caleb was there too, gently comforting her. They were both stunned when they saw me. I put the bag in my hand, and a printed confirmation letter on the table. Isla, I saw your WeChat Moments. I looked at her sincerely. You said you wanted to go to a temple to cleanse your soul. I'm very supportive of that. It's a very beneficial activity for mental health. I signed you up for the Jingshin Zen Temple's retreat, starting next Monday for a month. The masters there are very skilled. Many people want to go but can't get a spot. Look, this is your confirmation letter. I bought the clothes for you too. They're all pure cotton, comfortable to wear. Isla's mouth slowly widened, her eyes filled with horror. A month of spiritual retreat? Handing in her cell phone? Waking up at 4 in the morning? Her face turned a ghastly green in an instant. No, that's not what I meant. She stammered, trying to explain. But I looked puzzled. Didn't you say you wanted to go to a quiet temple to cleanse your soul? Jingshin Zen Temple is the best choice. Then I turned to Caleb, seeking support. Caleb, what do you think? Isla has been emotionally unstable lately. It would be good for her to go to a retreat. Caleb's expression was very interesting. Of course, he knew that Isla was just whining in her WeChat moments to gain sympathy. But she posted those words herself. Now that I've set up the ladder, how can he take it down? Ava, a month. Is that a little too long? He said with a dry smile. Soul cleansing is a long process. It can't be achieved overnight, I said righteously. Isla finally couldn't take it anymore. She wailed and burst into tears. Tears streamed down her face. Ava, I know you hate me. You just want to get rid of me. You're so mean. For the first time, she tore off her mask and screamed at me hoarsely. Caleb stood up abruptly, pushed me away, and shielded Isla in front of him. Enough. Ava, look at what you've driven her to. His eyes were full of disappointment and anger. She's so sensitive, so kind. Why do you keep bullying her again and again? This relationship is too exhausting. I've really had enough. Maybe we all need to calm down. Calm down. I looked at him, and somewhere in my heart, something seemed to shatter. Isla was still crying in his arms. She sobbed, raised her tearful eyes, and looked past Caleb's shoulder at the open window on the balcony. Brother Caleb, don't argue with Ava because of me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't exist. Maybe if I disappear, everyone will be happy. Her voice was faint and full of insinuation. Caleb's face turned pale instantly. He stared at Isla intently, both shocked and frightened. Isla, don't talk nonsense. Watching Isla's textbook-like green tea performance, and looking at Caleb, who was completely in her grasp, I suddenly found it a bit funny. I took out my phone and unlocked the screen. You want to disappear? My voice was very calm, but it stunned both the crying Isla and the furious Caleb. They looked at me in unison. In front of them, I opened my address book, my fingertips swiping through a string of unusual names. Population Migration Expert Lee. Identity Erasure Service A. Anonymous Overseas Settlement Mr. Webb. Turning the phone screen to them, I introduced them in a calm tone. I highly respect my friend's personal wishes. If you really want to disappear and start a new life, I can help you contact these professionals. They are very capable and will guarantee that you will completely vanish from everyone's world, and it will be absolutely confidential. Caleb and Isla stared intently at my phone screen, especially Isla. Her crying stopped abruptly, her mouth open, tears still clinging to her eyelashes, and she was completely frozen. I looked at her and added very seriously, "Don't worry about the costs. Since I'm helping you contact them, I'll pay for it." No, that's not what I meant. Isla finally found her voice and screamed, struggling out of Caleb's arms. I was just saying it. Just kidding. The way she looked at me was full of unprecedented fear. Caleb also came back to his senses, and he snatched my phone. Ava, are you crazy? Who are you contacting? Who are these people? He roared at me. I took the phone back from him and looked at him calmly. She said she wanted to disappear. I'm just providing a feasible solution. Why are you two reacting so strongly? My question left them both speechless. The heart-stopping confrontation ended with Caleb dragging Isla away, looking lost and disoriented. Before leaving, Caleb looked back at me, his eyes completely cold and resolute. We're over, Ava. You're a monster. The door slammed shut with a bang. The room returned to silence. I stood there looking at the empty living room, and I didn't feel as sad as I had imagined. Instead, there was a sense of relief. The phone vibrated. It was a text message from Caleb. The content was the same as what he said last. We're over. Before I had time to reply, Another call came in. It was Dad. As soon as the call was connected, his steady voice came over. Ava, are you okay? I heard from your mother that you had a fight with that boy. Your mother and I are going to come over and see you now. I held the phone and my heart warmed. Okay. My parents arrived soon. I told them the whole story from beginning to end. My mother was furious and was about to call and curse at people on the spot. That Sue surname Green TB *TCH. And Caleb, that blind fool. Break up. We must break up. How can my daughter suffer such grievances? My father stopped her, sighed, and patted my head. Dad told you a long time ago, some people's words are like *T. Just listen and that's it. You even wanted to bring a bag to collect it. He spoke rudely, but he was right. I smiled. Wasn't I just trying to help him purify his WeChat moments? Purify my ***. My mother was furious. This kind of man, along with his WeChat moments, should be packed up and thrown into the garbage recycling station. It's a good thing you broke up, or you would have suffered in the future. With them there, the haze in my heart caused by the breakup quickly dissipated. I thought the matter was over. Unexpectedly, a few days later, Isla stirred up trouble again. She probably thought that she had completely kicked me out and victory was in sight, so she organized a party, euphemistically called Healing Caleb's Wounds. She invited all of our mutual friends, except for me. At the party, she drank some wine, her eyes red, and raised her glass, giving a heartfelt confession to everyone. It's all my fault. I really didn't expect things to turn out this way. I never thought of getting involved in their relationship. Seeing brother Caleb so sad, my heart hurts more than anyone else's. I'm willing to do anything to make up for it. Even if you let me take a beating, I'd be happy to. As she spoke, tears flowed again, and she was so pitiful. Caleb's friends stepped forward to comfort her, and the scene was very touching. Unfortunately, they didn't know that one of these friends was a mole I had planted. Or rather, a simple, drama-loving person who likes to watch the fun. He completely recorded Isla's passionate performance and sent it to me. I opened the video and looked at Isla's tear-streaked face on the screen. When I heard her say, "Even if I get beaten up, I'd be willing," I pressed the pause button. When I heard her say, "Even if I get beaten up, I'd be willing." Beaten up. That's a novel request. I pondered for a moment and forwarded the video to someone. Her WeChat name was Gold Medal Female Boxer Ria. She was a retired provincial boxing champion I had met through a friend for fitness purposes. I sent a message. "Sister Ria, want to pick up a side job? A client has a special request." Ria replied instantly, "Tell me about it." I sent the video with an explanation. The client is called Isla, and she wants someone to beat her up, and she's willing. Handle it as you see fit, be professional, don't kill her. The reward is negotiable. Ria replied with an okay gesture. Guarantee client satisfaction. The next morning, Isla dressed smartly and came out of the apartment building, probably going to find Caleb to continue the healing act. As soon as she got downstairs, a woman wearing a sports vest with smooth muscle lines blocked her path. It was Ria. "Miss Isla." Ria sized her up and down, her eyes professional. Isla was a little freaked out by her gaze and asked guardedly, "Who are you? I don't know you." "You don't know me, but I know you." Ria shook her phone, which was playing Isla's confession video from the party. "I've seen your request, and it's very sincere. My name is Ria, a professional boxing coach. Today, I'm here to fulfill your wish to be beaten up." Ria clenched her fist, her knuckles cracking. "Don't worry, I'm professional. We'll start with warm-up and impact resistance training, step by step, to ensure you experience the purest feeling of being hit without leaving permanent damage." Isla's face changed at a speed visible to the naked eye. From confusion to shock to terror. You're crazy. Get away." She screamed and turned to run. But how could a weak woman outrun a professional athlete? Ria rushed forward and easily grabbed her wrist. "The client is very emotional, it seems she can't wait. Don't worry, we'll start with core strength training." Ria's enthusiasm and professionalism sounded like the devil's whispers to Isla. This dramatic scene took place at the entrance of the residential area where people came and went, quickly attracting onlookers and filming. Caleb was in a meeting at the company when he received Isla's sobbing call for help. He rushed to the scene in a panic and saw the horrifying scene of Isla being pinned to the ground by a tall, muscular woman, about to start abdominal impact resistance training. "Stop. What are you doing?" Caleb's eyes were bloodshot as he rushed forward to pull Rhea away. Rhea dodged sideways, easily avoiding him, and then held up her phone, shoving the video in Caleb's face. "Sir, don't get excited. I was paid to provide a service. Your friend, my client, Ms. Isla, clearly stated in the video that she was willing to be beaten up." Rhea's voice was loud, making sure everyone around could hear clearly. "My client, Ms. Ava, specially hired me to provide this immersive beating experience to fulfill her wish. We signed a contract, everything is legal and compliant." The surrounding crowd craned their necks, and soon they also saw the content of the video. Suppressed laughter broke out in the crowd. "Wow, is this woman taking her acting too seriously? She said she wanted to be beaten up, and someone actually helped her realize it. What's that called? Asking for it and getting it. That girl named Ava is ruthless." Caleb's face turned from red to green, from green to white, and finally turned iron gray. He stiffly turned his head and looked at Isla, who was crying on the ground, her eyes filled with unprecedented strangeness and coldness. The ambulance incident, the temple retreat incident, and today's bizarre beating incident. One thing after another flashed through his mind. Those details he had ignored, those words he had taken as jokes and sensitivity, were all connected at this moment. Ava wasn't just low EQ, she was just too straightforward. Straightforward enough to expose all of Isla's sugar-coated lies and calculations. And he was the fool who had been played for a fool. "You." Caleb's voice was trembling as he pointed at Isla. "Everything you said was all fake. The heartache was fake, wanting to go to the temple was fake, even wanting to be beaten up was fake." Isla shuddered at his question, and looking at the contemptuous and mocking eyes of the people around her, she knew she was completely finished. All pretense was shattered at this moment. She simply gave up and jumped up from the ground, pouncing on Caleb. "Yes. It's all fake," she cried hysterically. "I just like you. I've liked you for over 10 years. Why should I lose to that monster Ava? I just want you to see clearly that she's not suitable for you at all. I'm the one who loves you the most, Caleb." This earth-shattering public confession was the last straw that broke the camel's back. It completely confirmed that this was not a misunderstanding, but a premeditated conspiracy. Caleb staggered back a step, looking at the crazy woman in front of him, his face filled with only endless absurdity and regret. The professional beating and public confession videos spread like wildfire in our social circle. Isla was completely socially dead, becoming the biggest joke in the circle. Caleb also locked himself at home, refusing to see anyone. He made countless phone calls and sent countless apologetic text messages to me. I didn't answer any of them, and I didn't reply to a single one. I was busy. Dad introduced me to a new project, letting me manage a charitable foundation for people with autism and communication disorders. My straightforwardness and diligence became the biggest advantages here. I didn't need to guess what they meant. I just needed to provide the most effective help based on their most direct needs. I thrived. After being completely isolated and ridiculed, Isla seemed to be in dire straits. She decided to make one last gamble. She knew Caleb had a fatal weakness. He was severely allergic to nuts, enough to cause shock and even death. She personally baked a cake filled with peanut crumbs and delivered it to Caleb's apartment. She had calculated everything. She said to the distraught Caleb, "Ava asked me to deliver this. She said she made it herself, hoping you can eat away all the past unhappiness and start over." Her plan was that after Caleb ate the cake, she would immediately pretend to notice something was wrong, then call an ambulance and stage a selflessly saving her ex scene. This way, she could not only become Caleb's savior, but also pin the blame for attempted murder firmly on my head. Killing two birds with one stone, how vicious. However man proposes, God disposes. She underestimated Caleb's despair at the time, and overestimated her control. The heartbroken Caleb was in no mood to taste it, just wanting to numb himself with sweets, and before Isla could even start her performance, he took a big bite and stuffed it into his mouth. The deadly allergic reaction broke out instantly. Caleb's throat immediately swelled up, making it difficult to breathe, and terrifying red spots appeared on his face. He fell to the ground, his body beginning to convulse. Isla panicked completely. She screamed and reached for her phone, but because her hands were shaking so badly, the phone thudded to the ground, the screen shattered, and it went completely black. There was no landline in the apartment. Trapped in the despair she had created, she was trapped in this closed space, watching a life quickly slip away before her eyes. Mom was always worried about me, and secretly asked one of our family's assistants to pay more attention to Caleb and Isla's movements. Not to care about them, but to fear that they would become desperate and bother me again. The assistant saw Isla enter Caleb's apartment building with a cake, and didn't come out for a long time, which made him feel uneasy. He immediately contacted the property manager, and opened the door to Caleb's house under the guise of gas leak investigation. As soon as the door opened, everyone was stunned by the scene before them. Caleb was lying unconscious on the ground, his face pale purple, and Isla was slumped beside him, covered in cream and cake crumbs, muttering, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me." The ambulance wailed again. This time it was a real emergency. Caleb was pulled back from the brink of death, but due to prolonged oxygen deprivation in the brain, he was left with some sequelae. The police quickly intervened in the investigation. Isla's, Ava delivered the cake, story crumbled in the face of the evidence. I was in meetings at the foundation all day that day, with hundreds of people who could testify. And Isla's laptop clearly showed search records for things like lethal dose for nut allergy and anaphylactic shock rescue time. The evidence was irrefutable. She was formally arrested for attempted murder. A few months later, at the first charity gala hosted by my foundation, I went on stage as a representative to give a speech. Wearing a sharp suit, I faced hundreds of guests and spoke about the essence of communication. Language is for expression, not for disguise. Every word spoken should be taken seriously, because you never know if your joke might be a cry for help to someone else. The applause from the audience was thunderous. In the corner, I saw a familiar yet unfamiliar figure. It was Caleb. He had lost a lot of weight, his face was pale, and the look in his eyes was filled with endless regret and pain. He had lost more than just a lover. He had also lost the purest sincerity, someone who once treated every word he said as gospel. After the gala, I walked out of the venue arm in arm with my parents. The night breeze was cool. My father said with a smile, "See, your faults can sometimes be your most powerful weapon." My mother handed me a cup of warm corn juice. "Forget about those awful people and things. Your father and I will take care of you for life." I took the cup and smiled.